Welcome back to Holy Home Rhythm Reset. I am so excited about the rhythm we're talking about today. It is a weekly rhythm. I think this one it can be so important. There's so many things I could say about the weekly rhythm. It really comes from the principle of Sabbath. Sabbath is an Old Testament principle. And under the new covenant, we can have Sabbath every single day. So I want us to understand that. I also want us to understand that Jesus says man wasn't made for the Sabbath. Sabbath was made for man. This is simply a supplement. It is not our source. It's not something that we need to be rigid with. We live in the new covenant. We get the opportunity to live in flexible wineskins. All those things you could say about it. But I think it is a beautiful system to implement as long as it just stays a supplement. For instance, Jesus always would let his Sabbath be interrupted in order to obey his Father. So if the Father ever called you to do something on a Sabbath, we don't just say, well, today's my Sabbath and I'm honoring the Sabbath. No, we honor Jesus, etc., etc. But every week you can have the moment to pause and to stop from performance, stop from distraction, and re-engage in the most beautiful slice of heaven there is to offer. A couple things about this. Number one is when we talk about this, I want y'all to think about something. As we're talking about these rhythm resets, I want us to be learning. I'm learning. I want us to practice. Then I want us to reflect on at the end of this week, how is this going? How's that going? I want us to reflect on how's my evening and day? How's my Sabbath? What's working? What's not? Then I want us to find someone to process that with. Other people in different homes to process that with. Because people in your season, outside of your season, et cetera, because if you just try to do this and you just think you're going to show up and all of a sudden you're going to do a rhythm and it's going to work perfectly, I hate to tell you, it's not, like it never goes perfectly. We are post side of the fall. So there's going to be so many times where it doesn't go perfectly and you're going to have to make adjustments. You're going to have to learn. But if you are reflecting and processing that with other people, it's going to be beautiful and God's going to really, really use it. So that's the first thing. That's a rant, but I think it's important. Now, as we begin to talk about the Sabbath, one of the first things I want you to understand is that I want you to start small. Maybe it's just a morning or an evening or whatever it may be, but it's a weekly, maybe morning, evening, maybe it's a weekly hour, a weekly 30 minutes, but be very, very intentional in it and think, how can I subtract from my very busy schedule? How can I subtract from my distractions? How can I subtract from my performance? Not how can I add something else into my weekend? How can I subtract? And then just to realize that you get out what you put in. And that the reality is that you're gonna learn over time. You're gonna have some dips, some peaks, some valleys, and then you're gonna learn and you're gonna end up growing in it. And just realize that there's no formation without repetition and consistency. So if you just try it one time, probably not gonna work. But if you keep reflecting and looking at it and come back, we're believing that these rhythm resets are really gonna help you, particularly this weekly one. Really my prayer for you is that may the God of rest fill you with his peace and his presence as you learn how to rest in him. The first thing that we do on the Sabbath is that we stop. Okay, so every week having a moment where you stop performing and you stop distracting. Question number one, what is a space in your family's week or in yourself's week, if you live by yourself, or in your home's week, where you could just stop performing and stop being distracted? I'm not even asking the amount of time yet that you can do that for. Just what is a period where you can stop? Okay, once you have the answer to that, the second thing to think of is this. When you stop, the day that you stop, pick something that you do at the beginning of that and at the end of that. Transitions are important. So also, as we talked about end of day, beginning of day, think of something you can do to begin your Sabbath every time to say, hey, guys, in the home, or me personally, in the home, if I live alone, right now we're prioritizing that today we're focusing on stopping and remembering that Jesus gave us the victory. So let's light this candle, let's eat dinner, and then let's eat ice cream. I don't know, something fun. It will help if you have kids. Then at the end of the Sabbath, let's maybe have a moment where we all get together. If it's a 30-minute Sabbath, where we all get together and we all maybe say a prayer together. And those two transitions, those can help bring some meaning to it and some moment to it. The way you begin something, the way that you end something matters. So that's just like a little practical tip that may help you. When you stop, the second thing I want you to do is I want you to think about resting. The Sabbath is about rest. When we think about rest, I want you to understand that just stopping doesn't equal rest, right? I heard this analogy the other day. This phone, I could sit this beside my bed. I could turn it off. I could not use it. I could sit beside my bed. It would rest there all night, but it would have less battery than it had when I put it there when I woke up, right? Because it was resting, but it wasn't charging. Many of us feel like no matter how much rest we get, we're still tired. Why? Because our rest is still filled with distraction. And so we're resting, but we're not charging. We want to stop and we want to rest, and we want to use our resting time to get charged up, to get filled up with the Spirit of God. So during rest, there's a few things that we want to do. During rest, we want to understand, number one, that there's going to be some resistance to rest. We're going to get distracted. Things are going to come up. TV, entertainment, things are going to come up in our schedule, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's going to be some resistance to rest, but we're going to push through that resistance. The next thing we need to understand about rest is that we need to find the best way we can get charged up is by delighting in God. So let's find one way to delight in God. Okay, so second part, number one, we're going to stop. Where's a period we can stop? How can we start this stop? How can we end this stop? Whatever that period is. Number two, how can we rest? When we rest, we're getting charged up. How can we get charged up? We're going to take time to delight in God. How will we delight in God? If we're a family in a house, maybe all four of us have 4 different ways we delight with God. Okay, each of us for 10 minutes are going to go find our own way to delight with God. Maybe your kids are too little, they can't understand that concept, so you're going to teach them how to delight in God. Maybe you're going to do that with Legos. I don't know. Maybe you live by yourself. How are you going to delight in God? But during that rest time, we're charging up by delighting in God. Basically, we're getting very, very grateful and we're getting charged up. So I'm going to stop, I'm going to rest, and I'm going to use that rest to delight in God. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find space to worship God. All right? So I pick a day I'm going to stop. I have a start and an end to whatever that period of time is. When the time that I pick, I'm going to stop. I'm going to delight in God for whatever period of that time I have. I'm going to choose delight. Then I'm going to pick some time to worship God. When I think about worshiping God, a few notes is that there's so many different ways that you can worship God. But really, when you think about worshiping God, I want you to think about setting your attention on God. What is a way that you can put your attention on God and be in awe of Him? For some people, this may be going to the beach and looking out at the ocean. For some people, this may be laying in the backyard and looking up at the sky. For some people, this may be putting on some beautiful worship music and laying down for 10 minutes and listening to that and reflecting on how amazing God is. I don't know what it looks like for you, but these are the elements of a weekly reset that we want, a weekly rhythm to remind ourselves that we are going into our week from a place of victory. This is why I would say find time on Sunday to do this if you can. If you can find time to do this on Sunday, it's beautiful because you can say, before I ever work this week, I'm reminding myself that my work is not my identity. Before I get distracted this week at all, I'm reminding myself that I don't delight in my distractions. I'm reminding myself from the very first day of this week that my priority is delighting in and worshiping Jesus. That's what the goal of this is to remind ourselves of the victory we have in Christ, the identity we have in Christ, the calling we have in Christ, the beauty of Christ, the awe and admiration we have of Christ. So those are a sign of some principles, some very basic tips on the Sabbath. For Lex and I, it's different in every season. Right now, our Sabbath is kind of split up into 2 days. Our moments with the boys are really Saturday morning. Our moments together are really Monday morning / Monday at lunch. And it's kind of split 2 days. And more of our personal devotion time with the Lord is Monday morning. And then our time connecting together is Monday at lunch. And then the boys is Saturday morning. So it's kind of split right now. Our first Sunday's a work day for us. That looks different. So I'm telling you that just to let you know, hey, find a rhythm that works for you, but weekly, find a time to stop. Celebrate the fact that you're stopping. Make it intentional with the beginning and the end of it. Find a time, or make sure you're prioritizing resting, which means you're getting charged up by delighting in God. And then take some time to worship God and get your attention on how grateful you are for him. And then get ready for your week. During the Sabbath, I would use that time every week to just ask maybe some key questions to meditate on or something like that. But just a moment to ponder God and reflect and to reset the mood and the atmosphere of your home. I hope that's helpful. And I really want to say this is the last thing I'm going to say. This is work for me, and it's the joy of my life. It's work I delight in. So I'm not saying that for sympathy. I just want you to understand, like, this isn't just me doing this to hear myself talk. I could care less about hearing myself talk. I really, really, really am trying to serve you. So the reason I'm saying that is if I'm not answering something you want answered, comment it. I'll do a whole separate one of these that we'll post in an afternoon that's all Q&A. If you have anything that you want to learn, tell me. I'll make YouTube videos and post them at a different time for you to learn what you want to learn. I am simply trying to use technology to shepherd and pastor. This is not to hear myself talk. This is not to build a platform. It's none of that. We're doing it terrible if we're trying to build a platform, by the way. But I just want to help you. And any way I can help you, it's the joy of my life. It's what I'm literally here to do, is just help serve you and push you into your God-given calling. So anything I could do to help you, please just comment it. Tell me, I want this to be beneficial. If it's not beneficial, let me know. I want to help you. So I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, please comment. I hope it at least starts some conversations of what a weekly rhythm would look like. I hope it gives you some things to chew on, some things to think on. And please let me know any way I can be of service and help. I love you so much. Just keep showing up. We'll see you tomorrow.